Good morning, everybody. Tournament Tuesday today. We're doing silver best of 7. You guys know the drill now. We open some packs at the start. We open some packs at the end. This is our silver tournament team built from packs. It's not very good. So let's open some packs and see if we can't get anything good. As you can tell, this team is toiling away in iron still, running AJ Puck as our number 5 starter. How is everybody today? How are you guys doing this fine Tuesday morning, afternoon, whatever it is for you guys? We got like 50 packs to open on this team, so that was an accident. Didn't mean to have that many. Good morning. Good morning. It's going well, Minerva. Thanks for dropping by. There's a Juan Soto in pack number 4. I have no sound in here. Oh, now I have too much sound because I can hear me. Hold on. There we go. I am muted. I think we're set up now. We're going to do silver best 7 today. There's a future legend Vidal Brujan and a Tim Anderson. Double gold pack. Solid start. We're going to burn through these packs really quickly as we get a Cy Falkenberg. That's a cool name. I don't think I've seen this card yet. Jake Peavy, Diamond Mission, 81% complete. Solid looking card there. That's an upgrade on the rotation, I think, folks. Very good start. The Connor's got to be on the other team, not this one. We do not want to pull Roger Connor on this team. I will just be sad. This is not the main team. Jeff McNeil, here we go. We're in the quiet section of the packs. Corey Seager. Nice page beard. I like it. Yeah, good pack luck to start. It's quieted down a little. Like I said, we're going to burn through this. I have an appointment I have to get one of my children to today, so we're on a little bit of a time frame today. And so I apologize for that. Another gold, Kevin Gossman. I just got a bunch of solid prospects in my fantasy league for him a couple weeks ago, so thank you, Kevin Gossman. Future legend, Pete Rose, that'll sell down to 840. Sadly, not awesome there. Again, we are going fast through these packs. There's a Hub Northen. I don't know if we're going to see him today. 559 perfect points worth of value out of that silver card. We do love Build a Legend Rose. He's pretty solid. 39 packs with your bronze team yesterday. No one to... Nice. 39 packs with a bronze team in one day is a solid showing. JT Brubaker, Larry Parrish, 78 rated silver. We're getting some new cards here. Team Missions number 2. This team's starting to fill out some collections, starting to get some of those live collections done. Again, for those who are relatively new, all of my teams except for my main team build their perfect team through packs. I build the tournament teams through buying cards, but I build the perfect teams through packs from tournaments or collections or stuff like that. Sometimes I buy packs, not as often as I used to, but that's why you see like this team's stuck in iron right now, because they're just not very good. It hasn't been a lot of pack luck until today. We'll get a Narvaez there. 24 packs left. I got 2 weeks left in the Arkansas Travelers season. I think their playoff hopes have been dashed after a 3-3 week this week. But we'll see. Crazier stuff has happened. They've got 4 weeks left. They're in 4th place. Need to get to 2nd. 6 games behind right now. You pulled a Chicken Wolf on your alt. Nice. That's always rough when you get a card you want on the wrong team. Really avoid buying packs, just pure mission spam and grinding bronze tourneys. That's the way to do it. Unless you end up, like, this team only runs silver tournaments, like silver level tournaments, and so sometimes I find myself with just too many perfect points, so I'll buy packs then, occasionally. Not today. We bought a card yesterday, 2 days ago, that kind of put a dent in our packs. Roger Erickson's a new silver card for me. 700 points. Team Mission number 1, Minnesota. We got a couple historical and a diamond pack at the end of these, I think. There's a Troy Neal, another silver card. 16 packs left to go. What's up, Dishnet? I gotta say, I was scrolling through my Facebook today, and the Out of the Park page popped up, and it was talking about the Perfect Team Championship Series. And it said, come watch our favorite esports streamer, Dishnet, on my Facebook page, and I was like, oh, that makes me a little sad. But good job on Saturday, Dish. 25-7 to start the year. Just waiting for another one. I got my first Twitch drop of the day. Yeah, lots of historical silver so far today. There's a couple historical bronzes there. Yuck pack. Louis Aloma, Camilo Doval. OHBL is getting ready to enter spring training. Pinky Whitney gets a little bit of play at bronze, not too much. Not as much as he did when it first started. There's a diamond Nick Anderson. That was out of a standard pack, I think. It was a standard pack. 2 diamonds today in 45 or so packs. Here we go. Should be getting into these gold packs right now. Nope, I was wrong. Bad math. Gold pack number 1 is Adalberto Mondesi. Ouch. Gold pack number 2 is Trey Turner and Dinelson LeMay. I think the next one's a historical pack, guys. Historical pack is Fred Tony, Randy Milligan, Joe Sewell, and a couple bronzes. We almost went full rainbow on the historical pack. Fred Tony, we got a couple new starting pitchers for this team today. Ron Guidry, 12,000 perfect points. Solid. That is a solid historical pack right there, guys. And our last pack is a diamond pack. Last pack is a diamond pack. So here's hoping. Let's go 3 historical diamonds today in 51 packs. We will not do it. It's formerly perfect Mookie Betts. But that's okay. That was a solid bunch of packs. We can go over here and we can get those guys in from the AI. That team looks a little bit better, I think. They pulled, let's see, who did they pull out? Jared Weaver, gone. Well, that's a little sad. I probably should have managed the pitching myself a little bit better. He's a solid pitcher. Kevin Gausman, gone. John Jaha, gone. George Springer, gone. We got Mookie Betts in there. Okay. I don't know who else got put in there for batters, but we got Falkenberg in there. We'll see where he pitches. We got Fred Glade is not new. Where's our other new pitcher? I forget who it was. Oh, well, whatever. Oh, Tony. Fred Tony. Oh, you know what? That's annoying. Hold on a second. I messed that all up because we missed an export there, so we're going to have to go in and redo all of that. Mookie coming back this weekend? Nice. Historical packs don't give out diamonds, you say? Let's see. Did it work? No, we got to go here. Let's do this. Manage cards. We'll go custom, customize, at least 80. Don't quick sell all your cards, David. Don't quick sell all your cards. Activate 79 cards. I have done that before. It's very embarrassing, by the way. There we go. Now it's set up. So sometimes if you're opening packs over an export, it'll mess your team up and it'll be a mess. So that is our current team for the Bergerons Bruins right now. Solid Fred Tony upgrade. Let's see. Fastball, sinker, curveball, screwball. Ooh, I like the screwball. Very, very nice. I always like screwball pitchers. Good stamina. Decent hold runners. Not great. Good looking card. Cy Falkenberg. Knuckleball. We got a screwball pitcher and a knuckleball pitcher added to this team. Maybe we'll get out of the division series this week. The possibility exists. What do you got? The best you've seen from your historical packs was double gold and you felt like you hit the lottery. Yeah, it happens. Hit a bunch of homers versus pods and maybe get back to 100. Yeah, maybe. Let's not talk about Mazzucato yet. I may have spent a lot of money on him. And I am 81% to Jake Peavy. I am. But I don't know that I have everything else below that finished. So we'll get back to that in a little bit. Let's talk about silver because, like I said, I'm on a time frame. I got something a little bit new. So not a little bit new, but these are all the teams that I've seen that have more than 50 games played in tournaments with me over the last week in silver. Our number 1 winning percentage team is HB Cube. I'm not going to go into these teams, but HB Cube is 107 and 54 with a 66% winning percentage. Pretty solid stuff there. The Santa Maria Ghost Riders are 33-17 with a 66 game winning percentages. Again, minimum 50 games. They just made the cutoff. Greystone Finches, Copenhagen Achievers, the Palatine Plutos, your top 5 in winning percentage. Berlin Blue Crabs, Milford Lego Men, Steel Creek Zombies, Lacrosse Fighting Frogs. Nice to see a DLLer up there. And Green Park Gophers round out your top 10 teams in winning percentage, all of them at 60% or above. Minimum 50 games played. You see the Bruins down here at 272 and 229. I'm actually pretty happy with that. The Bruins suffer from a little bit of large sample size-itis when we're talking about winning percentage, but anytime I'm up over about 53%, I'm pretty happy. And so the silver team's been rolling right along the last few days. There's some changes I still want to make, but we'll see how it goes. You've been using Moz, mixed results. We'll see. The top 5 in wins, we have the Berlin Blue Crabs are the only team out of these 40 minus 5, 35 tournaments I got this week to win 3 for the Berlin Blue Crabs. Greystone Finches, Vince Scully's, love the name, Moria Balrogs, and the HB Cubes all had 2 wins. So there you go. Those are your teams that we've seen over the last week. Let's talk about silver batters. We're starting with catchers at number 10. It's Roberto Perez. And like I said, I'm going to do this a little bit different today just because the time crunch is real today. We're going to burn through all 10 players and then we'll talk about who looks like they're usable. So we had 13 qualifying catchers. Perez is at a 252 weighted on base average, .97 WAR, 51 runs created. That catcher run save value for him is not great, even though he's at a 100 catcher ability. So we'll see what he looks like compared to everybody else. Hits a little bit of home runs versus lefties. Number 9 on your catcher list is Jean Desautel. Number 9 in catcher run save value at positive 19.28, which is actually bad. 6th in weighted on base average at 290 and 57.31 runs created for Jean Desautel. You guys know it better than me. I should know that one pretty good, but I don't. Number 8 is Sean Murphy. A little bit of power here. He's 6th in home runs, but 10th in weighted on base average at 273. 8th in catcher run save value. Number 8 overall. Grades out 4th defensively, but the catcher ability is a little bit low for Sean Murphy. So there you go. This is a live Sean Murphy sighting. It sure is a live Sean Murphy sighting. He's at number 8 out of 13. Number 7 is John Roseborough. This was my go-to for a little while. He is 3rd offensively, 10th defensively, 7th in catcher's run saved, number 1 in weighted on base average. These rate stats are fantastic for John Roseborough when it comes to catching, but catcher run save value is a net negative, but not too bad. He's not terrible, not a terrible option. John Roseborough at number 7, mashes right-handed pitching. He just mashes right-handed pitching as a catcher. Number 6 is James Mccann, 5th in catcher run saved at negative 9.21. Again, the negative is actually positive because I like to keep you guys on your toes. However, he's 9th in offense, 11th in weighted on base average, number 1 in home runs for James Mccann, but everything else is kind of mediocre or worse. 56 runs created per 600 for your number 6 catcher, James Mccann. And again, I know I'm going through these fast. I apologize. It's going to be a little bit of a weird day, but hopefully we get you guys all 5 of your packs anyway. Number 5 is Bruce Pettway. Everybody cries just a little bit. He is 25% point percentage, 32% reward percentage is exorbitantly high for Bruce Pettway. He comes in at number 5. He's 5th in offense, 6th in defense. Now, one thing to keep in mind for Pettway is that he doesn't get a catcher run save point bonus because he has the first base in the right field on there. So he could be losing points, could be gaining points based off of the fact that James Mccann is a negative 9 in catcher run save with a 66 catcher ability, 83, 85. It's pretty similar. So I think we're probably looking somewhere between a negative 5, negative 10 catcher run save value for Bruce Pettway. So you can probably bounce him up just a little bit. Keep that in mind. I like Bruce Pettway, 5th in weighted on base average, 1st in stolen bases, 6th again in defense. And if you're using him as your backup, he provides a little bit of a fun kind of utility value for Pettway. He's at number 5. Number 4 is Bob Boone. Number 4 in catcher run saved at negative 16.98, 89 catcher value, 78 catcher ability, 76 catcher arm. Mashes versus lefties? I wouldn't say mashes. 93 avoid K, 70 contact versus lefties is going to give him a 250-ish batting average. We are at, 92% right-handed starting pitching Usually I talk about that right at the top. 92% of our starting pitchers in silver right now are right-handed. That is awful. The relief pitchers are at 65%, so not much better. So when you see a guy like Boone, yeah, if there were more lefties, maybe he'd be usable. But right now, I think Bob Boone is on the outs looking in. Number 3, Quincy Troop. Very, very little splits here. He's second in weighted on base average. Grades out 8th defensively. Third in catcher run saved, though, at negative 17.93. A pretty okay 73 catcher ability, 65 catcher arm, 76 catcher rating for him at defense. He comes in at number 3. Negative is better, correct, on catcher's run saved. Yes. Any emote that starts with Pog. Yes. Perfect Team Championship Series Fall Silver. There's so many cards you have on your if only there were more left-hand pitcher list. Yeah, right? It's a little bit rough. But very little splits for Quincy Troop. He's at number 3. I like this card. Pretty solid option at catcher. Number 2 is Buddy Rozar. And here I go saying, why? Buddy Rozar is number 3 defensively based off of ratings, but number 2 on catcher run saved at negative 36. 8th offensively, so he's not great offensively. He does hit lefties just a little bit better. I'm kind of leaning Troop at this point, to be totally honest. He's 8th in weighted on base average, doesn't really hit for too much power, does not ever strike out, so the ball's going to be in play. 4th in RBIs, 8th in runs created, 5th in WAR among catchers. He comes in at number 2. Solid defense with middling offense for catcher, but again, if there were more lefties, Rozar would be much more effective. But there's not. So he is my starting catcher right now. But number 1 on this list today is Austin Hedges. And Austin Hedges is just really, he's bronze now. But he's still getting some use up here. But this is used in the calculation, and that's why Austin Hedges is coming out at number 1. I mean, look at that. 65 runs saved over number 2, which is 36. So how do I calculate catcher runs saved? You guys ask again, probably for people who haven't seen it in the past. I look at catcher ERA minus league catcher ERA, and then subtract it and then make it over the course of a season. So this is not over a tournament. You're not talking 65 runs saved over a tournament. And it's hard because I don't know how predictive it is, but I think Austin Hedges is pretty clearly the best defensive catcher on the list. And if you're all in on defense, that's what you want. I like Rozar. I like Troop at number 2 and number 3. I actually do like the Pettway card just because of its utility. I think that's what I'm running right now is a Rozar / Pettway combination, with Pettway being the backup to Buddy Rozar. But I could be convinced otherwise. I do like that Quincy Troop card. I really think this is a solid card. If you're not looking to use a guy like Pettway, or if you're looking to platoon, Troop will hit righties better than Rozar hits righties for sure. So you're going to gain a little bit with Troop. You're going to lose a little bit of offense, gain a little bit of defense with Rozar. Maybe a defensive sub on the days that Troop plays, and then let Rozar start against lefties. Might be a solid option too. Pettway has it was one of the more fun cards last year. It's one of the more fun cards this year as well, I think. He just allows you to kind of do whatever you want. Don't want to platoon at first base? Well, use Pettway as your backup catcher and your backup first baseman. Don't want to platoon in right field? Well, use Pettway as your backup catcher, your backup right fielder. It just allows you to do so many things by giving you those options that it's a really useful card. But I can't argue with a Troop Rozar combo based off of defense and based off of how much better Austin Hedges can make your pitching staff. I'm not going to argue with people who want to play Austin Hedges at catcher. He's just so good defensively. What makes up another one? Just straight usage or some formula. So number 1 is basically it's a combination of offensive value, defensive value based off of ratings, and for catchers, their catcher run saved value. And so what you're looking at is he's got a 64 plus 26 plus the 65, plus some other WAR figures in there as well. And so what you end up with is a total score right around here. And I divide stuff, so it's not like he's not getting a full 65 points out of his catcher run save value. It's divided by 4 or something, because it would have just made it overpowered. So to come up with the offensive value, it's weighted on base average, Home runs is in there, steals is in there, runs created is in there somewhere for the formula. It's something that I keep meaning to sit down and make better. That requires time, and I just don't have a lot of it right now. So it's been the same formula for a couple months now, but I change it every now and then. You've been platooning Hedges, Rosar. I can see it. You have no complaints about either. Hedges versus righties, he's not going to hit great, but he'll hit bombs for you and play really good defense versus righties, and it allows Rosar to kind of focus on being against lefties too. So I don't think that's an awful choice. Those are your catchers. Hedges sits every third game for you. I think that's fair. You run Hedges and Ruiz in your bronze. I think that's probably the way to go in bronze, but I haven't looked at it in a couple weeks either. You've been platooning Hedges and Rosar. Just making sure it wasn't no, it's not number one most used. So that's what this list over here is how often they get used at this position. So the plate appearances down here are total plate appearances. The plate appearances over here on the top left are at this position. So you can see a guy like Hedges who only plays catcher. All of his plate appearances are at catcher. But if you look at a guy like Pettway, he's got 13,000 total plate appearances, but almost all of them are at catcher. So he's getting used mostly as a catcher, but that's what all that is for. Those are your catchers. Moving on to first baseman. Oh, I love how fast it's running. The spreadsheet, the upgrades have been, I like them a lot. Nick Johnson comes in at number 10. Nick Johnson is 11th in weighted on base average, 6th in defense, 12th in offensive value. 74 runs created puts him at 13th. And at 75 inches, he's middling for a first baseman. He comes in at number 10. This is a snapshot from 2006. Ben Taylor and Dave Revering, your two most used first basemen. Number 9 is Nick Etten. Splits versus righties, which is helpful. 3rd in weighted on base average. Really, really bad defensively. 13th defensively based off of ratings, and I take all ratings into account. They're different for each position, but for first base, it's I also add height in as part of the rating as well. But splits versus righties for Nick Etten, he is 3rd in weighted on base average at 339, 7th in runs created at 80.29. Doesn't really run much. You'll see some guys in this list who run a little bit, and is kind of middle of the pack, 9th out of 17 qualifiers in home runs with 16.23 home runs. So there is a little bit of power here in Silver at first base. Number 8 is your Build-A-Ledge in Silver, Harry Heilman. Splits gap power versus righties pretty significantly, but everything else splits pretty significantly versus lefties, so I would probably say he needs to be platooned versus lefties. He's 12th overall in weighted on base average. 3rd defensively, though, even though he's kind of short, a 72 first base rating with a 55 error rating at first base here in Silver is helping him out defensively, but it's not a huge gap between him and the bottom. It's like 2 points. So you don't get too much of a bonus, but he comes in at number 8. Does against lefties matter when only 7% of starters are lefty? No, that's why I bring it up, because when a guy is this heavy versus lefties, he's not going to get much play. But it could be a useful bat off the bench, because you're going to see a little bit more if you start getting into those late innings. That's where a guy that's versus lefties might be useful here in the format, even if he's only playing like once every 4 or 5 days for you when your starter gets tired because of all the righty starters. They can be useful off the bench, so just keep that in mind. And so pinch hitting late in the game. Here's another one that splits versus lefties, Paul Goldschmidt. 84 contact, 93 gap, 75 power, 74 eye, 63 avoid K versus lefties. I would argue that Goldschmidt has to be platooned, maybe more so than Heilman. He's also not as good defensively. He comes in at number 7, 10th in weighted on base average, 3rd in runs created, however, does run just a little bit, 6th in stolen bases, and a pretty okay 70% stolen base percentage for Paul Goldschmidt at first base. Number 7. Ben Taylor, your most used first baseman, comes in at number 6. Pretty heavy splits versus righties here, so we like that for the format. He's going to start a lot. He can run as well. I'm a little surprised to see him this low on the list. He's losing a little bit just because of his defense being mediocre. He's got the 50 error rating with the 68 first base rating, but he's only 71 inches tall, so loses a little bit. I know I'm probably overweighting height in my formula, but it is what it is. Is 3rd in stolen bases, is 1st in runs created, somehow still only ends up 7th offensively, but I'll tell you why. because he just doesn't hit home runs. It's a position that there's a lot of guys with some power here. I do really like this card for the format, though, even though he's at number 6. Home runs, I believe in my formula, is getting overweighted just a little bit right now. It is calculated and weighted on base average, but I didn't want to just use weighted on base average, and so steals was in there, and then steals was overweighting it, and then runs created was in there, and runs created was overweighting it, so I threw home runs in there just because it's like the one thing that a player can do. It's like the one thing that a player can do that he does by himself, right? So everything else here requires a little bit of help from the team in order to create runs, but home runs are a thing that only require that one player to create runs. And so it is in the formula right now. I could be convinced to take it out, but for now, Ben Taylor's getting dinged because he only hit 6 home runs. But I do think this is a solid first base option, especially with the way the format is right now versus righties. A 293 average is pretty spectacular. A 350 on base percentage is very good. A 339 weighted on base average. So even though he comes in at number 6 on the list, subjectively, I like him at least higher. Maybe not number 1, but at least higher on the list than number 6. Number 5 is Ryan Zimmerman. 26% point percentage, 36% reward percentage. That seems exorbitantly high. Oh, you know what? I know what's going on there. I have to fix a formula. Ignore the reward percentage for today. I know what it is. You can ignore that for today. Or you can look at it as how often he makes it to the 3rd round. Just because of the way the dumb formula is. Zimmerman splits versus lefties. Not completely hopeless versus righties. I think a 55 avoid K with a 7. Okay for a backup with 71 power. I mean, he'll do okay as a backup, I think, and then playing versus lefties, and then, as off the bench, I think he's a solid option there. And slugging number 1 and weighted on base average, but I really do believe that's because he's only as a first baseman versus lefties, and that kind of is shown here in the fact that he only has 2,000 plate appearances, 35 or so tournaments. I'm not seeing any issues on end right now. If it gets worse, let me know, but I'm not getting any lost frames or anything on my end if you guys are seeing buffering. Zimmerman, number 5. Number 4 is Whitey Lachman, who splits versus righties and is 8th in base average, 10th in runs created, but 4th defensively, and 5th in WAR. So solid WAR for Lachman. Splits versus like that. 81 contact, 73 avoid Ks, only plate appearances. So it's a little bit of a small sample size alert on him. 282 average, 345 on base per. Again, let me know if it gets buffering over the last 6 minutes or so. Stuck halfway through Zimmerman. Interesting. I'm not seeing any issues. If it keeps up, I will attempt to restart this and we'll see what happens. But it's not down, and I'm not seeing anything on my end. So a couple people without, it's like a Twitch thing going in and out somewhere on a server somewhere. So I apologize, guys. Number 5, Helton, another guy who splits versus righties, only 1,300 plate appearances, 334 weighted on base average, 5th defensively, 4th in home runs, 18 home runs per 600. He's 6th among first basemen. You guys are back? Okay. Hopefully it was just like a regional snafu or something. Not get any errors or anything. Like, I'm at a 0% frame rate loss rate. So yeah, it must be a Twitch. Hopefully it's a Twitch issue and not a issue. Eric Thames comes in at number 2. Man, do I like card. Solid power. Number 2 among first basemen in home runs at 22. Low. Building up a huge buffer, then sitting and not doing anything. Yeah, give it a couple minutes, see if it clears up. Frame drops. Now stopped when I apologized and back with Hilton. Seems better now on Hilton. Okay. We'll give it another minute or so and then I'll shut it down. 337 weighted on base average is good, not great. The home runs, again, he's getting a little bit of a bonus. from home runs, and then steal some bases too. So you're getting the home runs, the steals, solid stolen base percentage, good on base percentage from the walks. Runs created, he's 5th among first basemen. He plays okay defense. He's 7th defensively with a but his 71st base rating, and he's 73 inches tall. He comes in at number 2. This is a card I've been wanting to try out. I just haven't been able to find the team. Does split versus righties and hits bombs. So if you need a first baseman who hits bombs in the middle of your lineup, Thames might be the guy. And number 1, this is like 2 straight seasons in a row, I think. I don't know. We'll find out in just a second. Number 1 is Dave Revering. Splits heavy versus Ray. 73 avoid K. 75 contact versus righties is good to go along with 81 power average. 7th in weighted on base average. Number 1 in slugging. 20 plus home runs per 600 plate appearance. 80 runs created. 2nd in WAR and plays first base. You'll get some errors out of him, but the 76 inches is going to help his zone rating out just a little. The range is going to be good with the first base rating. The 20 errors for concerning. That it is what it is. Yeah, I think it's just a Twitch thing right now. This card is straight up like my neighbors are burning stuff. Hopefully that's like they're actually trying to burn stuff. But anyhow, Revering comes in at number 1. There we go. I finally tracked him down a few weeks ago. I'm running a Revering, I think Goldschmidt right now, comp base. But I also did not pay attention to this until this morning. I did not know we were looking at 90%. Wow, scat. At 90% right-handed pitching on starting pitchers. We need to pay a little bit more attention to going forward. Sometimes when I'm getting ready, when I'm working on the team, I just, I like that. Let's go with him. But Revering comes in at number 1. Those are your first basemen. And as far as extra players, guys, please, if you have players that don't show up on the list that you want to ask about, hit me up on Discord. Get back to you as soon as possible. We're going to move right on to the second baseman, where we had 19 quality 600 plate appearances at the position. Your number 1 most used is Walter Kennedy. I don't think I have any complaints about that. Live limit at number 10, 16th in weighted on base average, 6th in defense. We're just going to move on. Number 9 is Brandon. So live. Little bit of power here for Brandon Lau. He's 8th in offensive value, 10th defensively for Brandon Lau. 10th in catcher's run save value. I make jokes. 83 slugging percentage is 6th among second basemen. Does hit the most home runs. Again, the batting average at 19th, on base percentage at 18th. This is a guy who's kind of me, but is getting a huge bonus from home runs being a part of the offensive formula. So I really think that we probably want to stay away from Brandon Lau options. Don Money comes in at number 8. Now here's a card that he's a tournament reward that I've won a couple times by accident. It's some home runs, solid home run numbers for a second baseman. Weighted on base average, 4th in weighted on base average at 323. Small sample size alerted, just 933 plate appearances. Not great defensively, but has some utility because he plays second base, third base, left. I think if you use this card the right way, it can be a card that's something to your team. I've been running him a little bit as like a backup left fielder, backup second baseman. There's yeah, it's, Don Money. I think it's a useful card if used in the right way. He comes 8 among second basemen. We'll see if he pops up in left field, because defense does play a pretty heavy value at second base, and he's great defensively. But I think it's a solid usable card. Number 7. Sorry, I get sidetracked every now and then by you guys in chat. Number 7 is Jaren Duran. I'm going to skip him for now because he is not a second baseman. He does pop up here because he got 700 plate appearances as a second baseman. But defensively, he's just not that great. You can't really do anything with him at second base besides have him be a backup. So let's talk about him when we get to the outfield. He's at number 7 among second basemen. Kennedy comes in at number 6. I'm a little sad about this. He is rated number 1 on the most used list, but a weighted on base average of 297 is 13th out of 19. Home runs, he's kind of middle of the pack. Does steal some bases with a 75% stolen base percentage. 13th in runs created. Offensively, he's not awesome. Defensively, he's 3rd among guys at second base, but again, he's got that utility because on his days off, he can play some shortstop, third base, first base, and he's one of the few, he allows you to platoon at second base if you can. Now, that said, he doesn't have any splits here to speak of. It's like 1 point of split on in eye and in gap, and that's it, and 1 point of contact split. And so it's a decent batting average, and an okay on-base percentage from a guy who plays pretty solid defense at second base as well. So Kennedy comes in at number 6, but for my money, I think it's a really solid card and a really good utility guy. What's up, Yukarin? Thanks for stopping by. Used to give Dom money out like candy for yeah, they did. I've won like 5 of them, which might just tell you how mediocre my teams are, because I've only won 1 big tournament. And so Del Pratt comes in at number 5, only 1,600 plate appearances. This is another special edition, similar-ish batting stuff to Kennedy, just a little bit more power here, a little bit more gap, a little bit of a split versus lefties. Not a big one, it's just a couple points. But I think Pratt is usable as a second baseman as well. 6th in weighted on base average, 5th in home runs, 5th in runs created. Defensively, he's a little bit behind Kennedy defensively. He's 11th out of 19 guys defensively. But with a 62 range, 62 errors, 65 turn double play, and a 63 second base rating, I don't think he's unusable in the format as a second baseman, but I like a little bit more defense out of my middle infielders. So Pratt comes in at number 5. He's a disappointment. I've won a weekly. I won the second Iron Warriors tournament of Perfect Team 22. So back before anybody knew what was going on. So number 4 is Adam Frazier. I did come in second in the first round of the Masters series. But those are probably my 2 biggest prizes that I've won. Adam Frazier at number 4. This is a live Adam Frazier, grading out 9th offensively, 8th defensively. So just kind of a little bit of a jack of all trades here. Batting average at 274, slugging as 8th, weighted on base average is 8th. Doesn't really run the bases, but second in WAR among second basemen. Now, keep in mind that he plays a little bit of left field, right field, center field as well. So he's hard to tell whether he's getting a WAR bump or a WAR drop from playing those positions, because I have to imagine that he's probably a little bit of a negative in center field. But it's a solid live card right now. It's with the 76 avoid Ks, 73 contact, and solid gap power versus right-handed pitching. I like it. Plus he's got utility in left field and right field, and in center field, maybe like a Kennedy and Frazier playing. I don't hate a Frazier versus righties, Kennedy versus lefties platoon with both of them playing utility all over the place too. So both of them are definitely usable cards. Number 3 is Saul White. He's not good offensively, but he is very, very good defensively. 27% of his available points. He is in the top 20 players of points percentage based off of winning. Second defensively at second base, 79 range, good error rating, good turn double play, excellent second base rating for Saul White. He is a very, very good defensive second baseman, but he is a little bit of a black hole offensively. 15th across the board, except for OPS and your rate stats. Middle of the pack in steals, can run a little bit, 3rd in steals. So 35 steals adds to that, but it's a little bit hollow just because of the 311 on base percentage. He is 5th among second basemen in WAR overall. Also has that utility, so plays a little bit of second base, shortstop, right field. I just think the combination of I and avoid Ks for Saul White is a little bit not great. Kennedy Frazier is exactly what you're running, and it's great. I don't necessarily agree with that. I like this card too. I think there's a lot of good options here, and if you fill your lineup properly, then I think that all of them can be usable, because White can play backup shortstop, backup second base. I think he's phenomenal as a utility guy as well. You got a little bit of right field. He's even playable at third base, I think. So I think defensively he's a little bit of an upgrade as far as a utility guy over like a Frazier or over a Kennedy, just because he's so good defensively at multiple positions. But he comes in at number 3 overall. Number 2 is Newt Allen, who's number 1 defensively, but bad offensively. Does split a little bit versus righties, but it's just not enough to make him a useful offensive player. Although a 329 on base percentage with 35 steals per 600, there's something to be said for value there, especially since he splits versus righties. Only really plays second base. He's a little bit concerning as a shortstop utility guy, so I wouldn't necessarily play him as a utility guy, and kind of needs to be platooned. And the fact that he doesn't really provide utility kind of drops his value down on to me just a little bit. I'm going to try to sit up straight. I got a new chair finally, so I'm going to try to sit up straight and not kill my back for 3 hours while I'm talking to you guys on the stream. And so number 1, it can't be Reynolds. right? Niehoff, Rose. It's going to be Pete Rose, guys. Gosh darn it. We're going to skip Pete Rose for now. Number 1 offensively at second base, but I would not play him here. Outside of as a utility player, outside as like a backup, perhaps. Let's skip him for now. So number 1 at second base is Newt Allen. Those are your second basemen. He got turned to a Newt, but didn't get better. Nope, he's still a Newt. And so, yeah, there you go. Pete Rose comes in at number 1. Newt Allen at number 2. Saul White at number 3. Frazier 4. Kennedy at 6, I think, are probably your best options here. I think Del Pratt could be usable in the right way, but I just think with the way that this runs right now, he's just not going to get enough use. I really think it's some combination of Frazier, Kennedy, Saul White, and Newt Allen at second base. Kind of up to you how you want to go with that. Let's move on to the third baseman. Congratulations. The cat is right here. I'm poking the cat right now. He's unhappy. He's behind the monitor. It's all a ploy by out of the park to destroy my back. Seriously. We only had 5 third basemen qualify. So number 10 is NA. Number 9 is NA. All very good third basemen here at the back end, but we're going to skip over all of them. Number 5 is Harry Lord. He's the number 1 rated offensive third baseman. Number 5 rated defensive third baseman. He is atrocious defensively at third base. He is an interesting option for a designated hitter. We'll see where he falls on this list when we get there. 39 points of offensive value is pretty stellar. 292 average, 327 weighted on base average, only 1,600 plate appearances. It's really, there's like 3 options here at third base right now. And so we'll just get to there. 83 steals per 600 plate appearances. Nameless Poet, are you here? Rose. So, yes, I would not use Rose at second base. DH him or play him. We'll talk about him in left field. So the reason that he pops up at number 1 at second base is because this is all done based off of the formulas. I don't go in and like change values. Like I don't select the values for these players and where they go. So it's all done by formulas, and he's so much better offensively than the rest of the second baseman that he vaults all the way to the top of the list just because his offense is really good. But I would definitely not use him as a second baseman. Number 4 is Freddy Sanchez. I don't think we're super surprised about this. No power for him. No ability to run for him. Mediocre defense. Solid batting average. 300 batting average. 329 on base percentage. Are both pretty solid numbers, but it's pretty empty. It's all singles. Some doubles, I guess, probably not going to hit too many triples just because his base running's so bad, and he's going to be a net negative on the base paths. But if you really just want a guy that's going to hit 300 against right-handed pitching in your lineup, then maybe Freddy Sanchez is an option, but he's still only grading out 4th among third basemen, so he comes in at number 4. All right, here's the 3 guys that really matter in iron right now. Number 3 is Brooks Robinson. The problem with Brooks Robinson is that he splits really heavy versus lefties. 10 points of contact. You got 10 points of gap versus righties, but you get 12 points of power and 10 points of avoid K versus lefties, which is really sad when you think about it. But he's still grading out 5th offensively. Wait, that's last offensively among these third basemen. He grades out 2nd defensively, though, which is nice. Only plays third base, which is sad. And so he's got 5,837 plate appearances at a 307 weighted on base average. It's a little bit of a mess for Brooks Robinson right now in the format. And I have a feeling that the reason you're seeing this is, number 1, there's just not a lot of good left-handed starting pitchers in silver. But number 2 might be because at third base you have a whole bunch of guys who can't hit right-handed pitching. Number 2 is Judd Wilson, who does split a little bit towards right-handed pitching. Probably not enough to need to be platooned, and probably not quite enough to be, he's kind of mediocre defensively. 5,500 plate appearances is right behind Brooks Robinson. I think he can hit lefties okay. He's grading out number 2 offensively, number 3 defensively here at third base. Again, I think it's a usable card. However, he's number 1 in all your rate stats, mostly because Arenado can't hit right-handed pitching. Number 2 in home runs, number 2 in steals as well. So you got some base running. The stolen base percentage is a little bit low, but that's just because you got 12-point gap between his speed and his steal, which is not great. You can also ignore that for the purposes of today's stream. WAR at third, 3.19, which is number 2 among third basemen. Your number 1 third baseman right now is Nolan Arenado. 37,000 plate appearances. mashes left-handed pitching, never gets to face left-handed pitching. Still number one among third basemen in home runs and pretty easily number one defensively. Our number two defensive player was Robinson, who's just not close. Doesn't hold a candle to Arenado defensively at third base. There's just not any good. I think it's a combination of there not being very many really good left-handed starting pitchers and the fact that 80%, 85% of the players use Nolan Arenado at third base because it's a super easy card to get at this point, but it's super easy to defend against as well. He does come in at number one. I don't think you can go wrong with Judd Wilson, though. I think Judd Wilson's an interesting option too, but obviously it's Arenado's position to lose because he is okay offensively while being heads and shoulders above everybody else defensively at third base. So there you go. Nolan Arenado at number one. Shortstops. Miguel Rojas comes in at number 10. We had 12 qualifiers. Rojas is number 4 defensively, 12th out of 12 offensively. You can see 11th and 12th in all of those rate statistics. 10th in home runs, 9th in stolen bases. Just not a good offensive card. Also splits heavy towards lefties. This is live Miguel Rojas. Probably not a super valuable card in the format because he only plays shortstop and only hits versus lefties. He's at number 10. Number 9 is future legend Tyler Freeman, who's got a little bit of a nibble at second base here with the 25 rating. The range arm turn double play error ratings aren't awful at second base, but that 25 second base rating reduces his utility a little bit. Also splits towards lefties, but is grading out number 3 offensively among shortstops, number 10 defensively. There's some guys out there who are a little bit better than him defensively. Second in average on base percentage, third in weighted on base average, 6th in home runs, and third in runs created for Tyler Freeman at number 9. Number 8 is All-Star from 2014, Starlin Castro. Does split towards righties. Yay. 7th defensively, 6th offensively. I think I want just a little bit more defense out of my silver shortstop, but is top half in every offensive category as far as with the bat. 5th in average, 6th in every other rate stat, 4th in home runs among shortstops as well. Will accidentally steal a base every now and then. The walks and strikeouts are not great, especially like you got the 62 avoid K with a 39 I versus righties is going to lead to a pretty low on base percentage, even if the average is at a 261. So Castro comes in at number 8. Number 7 is John Beckwith, your second most used player. I think he suffers a little bit from high sample size. Also splits versus lefties just a little bit. That said, solid utility option here for John Beckwith. He plays shortstop, maybe playing him as shortstop versus lefties, and a first base / shortstop utility player on his days off is something you can do. Does have that one catcher rating. I know we joke about that every time we do catcher. Beckwith plays versus righties at 81 void K, 89 gap. So I think he can hit a little bit versus righties. He's 5th offensively, but 8th defensively. I think he's a solid looking kind of utility card if you want to use him like that and start, say, Nick Allen every day at shortstop. Number 6 is Jose Iglesias, who's up to a 72, down to a 72. I don't know. Number 3 defensively, pretty bad offensively, and with a little bit of a split versus lefties here as well. So he's 6th in batting average, 11th in weighted on base average. I think that there are better options out there than Iglesias. He comes in at number 6, 864 plate appearances for him. I really think there are better options out there than live Iglesias. Triple duty Beckwith, I like it. 1 catcher rating, perfect. I wonder what his catcher run saved would be. Trevor Story comes in at number 5. 8th offensively, 5th defensively. Not too far behind Iglesias. A little bit in range and arm behind Iglesias, like 10 points in each of those behind Iglesias, which is pretty large for shortstop, but grading out 5th defensively, but gives you a little bit of offense at least. 286 on base percentage is still bad, though. Also going to strike out more than any other shortstop out there. 178 strikeouts per 600 for Trevor Story this week. He has catastrophic effects on your pitching. I imagine he would have a very large catcher run saved net negative. Story comes in at number 5. Number 4 is Andrelton Simmons, down to a 65 now. You can see I didn't quite finish the formatting here. I've been going back and forth on my template and never got the formatting updated here. Number 1 defensively is Andrelton Simmons. Number just slightly better than Jose Iglesias defense or offensively, but really I don't think he's at all better. It's smoke and mirrors and small sample size for Andrelton Simmons. Defensively, he's great at shortstop. I think that you can get more action out of some other shortstops on the list, though. Andrelton Simmons at number 4. Number 3 is Jazz Chisholm, future legend Jazz Chisholm. Splits versus righties a little bit. Will strike out, 164 strikeouts, but also walks quite a bit too, which helps his on-base percentage. Also hits 23 home runs per 600. This is a really interesting card to me just because he is, I feel like it's kind of heads and shoulders offensively above all of the other cards at shortstop. 83 runs created per 600 is a huge number for a shortstop. Number 2, we'll see who number 2 is. But 83 runs created for a shortstop is just a huge number. Mediocre at best defense, though. Is it playable defensively? I think he can probably get away with it. Even though he's 9th out of 12, but nobody really plays bad defense at short. So that number's a little bit, this 9th out of 12 is a little bit misleading because nobody's really playing terrible shortstops here at Silver. Like they're all kind of useful at this point. And so Chisholm's an interesting card. Number 1 in weighted on base average. Number 1 in basically every offensive category except, the issue with strikeouts is a real thing. But I think he can play. He mashes a bit as a shortstop. Number 2 is a card I haven't seen yet. I don't know. Did we see this on the last list? Jeremy Pena comes in at number 2. Grading out second offensively, so 78 runs created, but it's an 890 plate appearance sample size here for Pena, so keep that in mind. It's a little bit of a small sample size for Pena. Grading out 6 defensively, so a little bit better defensively than Chisholm, but I just think Chisholm's a better card than Pena on its face value. He does give you a little bit of base running, 25 steals per 600, 3rd in home runs. Let's see, Chisholm's still right alongside him in base running. Chisholm's just a little bit better offensively, 6 points of range. Really, the 16 points of error rating for Pena is, there. But and the sprinkle of second base for Chisholm, who only plays shortstop, but will play shortstop 90% of the time for you when he's not tired. Comes in at number 3. Number 2. Number 1 is still Nick Allen. Grading out 7th offensively, grading out 2nd defensively is Nick Allen. You got to ask, is it called Bird because the middle one's the longest? Yes. Looks like a bird beak, middle finger. Yeah, or a middle finger for sure. Is live card update next Monday? I believe so, yes. And so Nick Allen comes in at number 1. Again, used 26,000 plate appearances. Good offensively, like he's not a black hole offensively. A 300 weighted on base average isn't terrible, and he's giving you pretty solid defense. Obviously not Andrelton Simmons level defense. And if it wasn't for Simmons getting 600 plate appearances or whatever, he'd be number 1 defensively on the list. That 95 error rating is excellent. I'm not disappointed that it's Nick Allen. I think, I'm still using him. I like Nick Allen. I think it's an okay card. It gives you a little bit of offense with pretty solid defense at what I still consider, I know I say this every time, so you're probably tired of hearing it. I consider shortstop the most important defensive position on the field because I just think it is. And it has nothing to do with the fact that I played shortstop growing up and in high school and in adult softball leagues and stuff like that. It has nothing to do with that. It's purely because I objectively believe that shortstop is the most important position on the field. Well, it isn't Sean Murphy, so of course we're disappointed. It's not Mike Lowell either, Karen. So should you use Jazz as a DH at shortstop? I think, wait, Nick? You mean Nick at shortstop? Better bats than Jazz for DH. I think, yeah, I agree with Chaston. I think if you're not starting shortstop, there's probably better bats available out there at designated hitter. I don't think he's good enough to be a designated hitter offensively, but he'd be good enough defensively that his bat does enough to make him good of an option as Nick Allen. And I still think is the way to go. You know, I like getting new cards on the list. I'm really excited to do the pitchers today. But I still think Nick Allen's kind of the way to go. But I really want to be into the Jazz card, especially with these numbers. You know, down to 60-40 or something like that, then I think Chisholm becomes a lot useful because that batting average is going to dip down probably close to 15, I would guess, with a 34 avoid Ks and a 59 contact, closer to like a 215 to 225 batting average. You'll still have a decent on base percentage. You'll still hit some home runs, but not as many. But for right now, with 92% of your starting pitcher handed, I think Chisholm's an interesting option. So it's not just you. The stream died. Did the stream die? Oh yeah, I got one. Looks like it came back. Doing the occasional buffering. I've got a frame loss, so we'll keep an eye out on it. We'll keep an eye out. It's up, but you have to keep hitting refresh, sorry, guys. I don't think it's. I've got a really low 0% frame loss, but I'll keep an eye on it and see if it goes up. Get to the outfields and see how it goes. Josh Devore comes in at number 10. We got 13 qualifiers. Devore, number 1 base runner, number 5 offensively, 13th defensively out of 13. Buffering at the source end, not you. Gotcha. It's up, but you have to keep hitting refresh. Yeah, it's okay. It's worse. Devore splits versus righties. That's nice. 8th in weighted on base average, 5th total offensive value. A lot of that comes from the fact that he runs the base. A little bit of power. Again, the splits versus righties are interesting. Terrible bad. He's pretty good offensively, though. Maybe a designated looks like on that list, but I don't think he's necessarily playable as a starter in left field. Maybe as a backup. Dish is sabotage. That's because Dish is favorite Twitch streamer. All the outfield people coming over. Maybe. Number 9 is Kurt Blefari. He's 8th offensively, 11, still pretty bad defensively. 4 field range, 45 left field rating. Still not great defensively. Offensively, he's putting a 6 weighted on base average. 15 home runs is top 5 among left fielders, so solid power. Again, splits versus number 1 in walks, which is helping out his on base percentage at 341. 11th in runs created. He comes in at number 9. Kurt Blefari comes in at number 9. Number 8, Crisp, who is one of your top points percentage players on the list. He's actually, I believe, number 3 on the points percentage. 5th in batting average, 9th in on base percentage and defensive value. So solid defense. 11th offensively overall. He's 11th out of 13 in home runs and doesn't steal enough bases to make up for the gap, even though he is a pretty good base runner. He's a pretty solid base runner. 9th in runs created per 600 overall. 11th offensively among left fielders, defensively among left fielders, but a very good base runner. His righties and plays pretty good left field defense with the ability to, you can slot him in as a center fielder as well. Number 7 is future legend Brenton Doyle. 10th offensively among, but 3rd defensively. This is a solid defensive card that hits for some power. Almost 20 home appearances for Brenton Doyle. The problem is Brenton Doyle splits versus lefties. So unfortunately in this format right now, I think he's at best a utility left fielder bat off the bench, but pretty solid bat. 73 contact, 76 gap, 77 power, 61 avoid Ks. Everything's kind of moderate splits, but it's enough to add up pretty big to be a utility left fielder / right fielder, maybe backup center fielder, out off the bench, defensive sub in left field perhaps. You expected Chris to be better. The cards just never kind of lived up to anything. I actually think he's probably a little bit better versus lefties. I know the avoid K drops a little bit in the back, going to be lower versus lefties, but I think the 3 points of gap and the 12 points of power really make up for it just a little bit. And again, if I take home runs out of the formula, he probably up to like 7th or 8th offensively, I would guess, because of the ability to steal. And so he's just getting hurt so much by not hitting for any power by the right-handed, but I like him because he switch hits. He's gonna hit at least a little bit versus lefties and righties and play good defense in left field. It's a card I really want to like. It's just kind of underperformed. Number 6 is Tim Raines. 84 eye versus lefties, 81 gap, 4 contact. I don't want to think about Tim Raines right now. We'll talk about, maybe if we have time at the end, we'll talk about my Tim Raines snafus over the weekend, but Not in silver. I am not playing Reigns in silver right now, but he's a solid base runner. Will hit a little bit versus righties. Kind of does everything okay. The range is low. The left field rating is low. Or okay. If this was just a little bit higher, I think he'd be more usable. But offensively, he's 6th. And again, he's getting hurt a lot because of the power. He's 2nd in on base percentage and 1st in steals. So there's a lot of value in that. That he's on base all the time and that he runs wild on the bases. There's some value there for Reigns. But overall, the home runs are dragging him down. The lack of power is dragging him down just a little bit. He's 6th in weighted on base average and 7th defensively at left field. He is good for your 2000 Red Sox theme team. That's fair. I'm surprised Reigns isn't higher. Me too. Let's see who the rest of the list are. I guarantee you who number 1 is going to be. Number 1 is going to be Pete Rose, and it's going to be all offense. So just keep that in mind. What? Never mind. Number 5 is Pete Rose. I am an expert at what I do. Not really, though. Number 1. Number 2 offensively. He's not even number 1 in left field, and he's kind of bad defensively. 3rd in average, 1st in on base percentage, 2nd in slugging, 1st in OPS, 1st in weighted on base average for Pete Rose. Loses value in field because there are guys who hit more home runs than him. Also loses value offensively in left field because there are guys who have more stolen bases than him. But he is the best base percentage player, probably close to the silver. We'll check when we do the all offense list. Defensively, he gets dragged down a little bit. To number 8th. Number 5 overall is Pete Rose. He comes in at number 5. I'm a little surprised to see him this low, but again, I think his value is as a designated hitter. And even I think he gains a little bit of value as a designated hitter versus lefties, because a 57 power rating is enough for me to say, hey, put him in the lineup because of that power. But an 89 avoid Ks plus 8 contact is enough of a combination for me to say he should probably be in your lineup versus lefties. But we'll see the batter list. He comes in at number 5 in left field. Let's see who you're mostly responsible for his bad showing. Nice. So any value, also value knowing that every time Reigns comes to bat, DRC's eye will twitch. And he won't. That's fair too. Yeah, he killed DRC in those finals on Sunday. Number 4 is live Michael Brantley. 76 rated card, split heavy versus righties, and a 79 avoid K with an 81 contact versus righties is giving him a 292 batting average. That is pretty. He's an okay defensive left fielder. This is a usable card in the right lineup. I don't think you want guys who are 50 or below in power, in both power and eye. Even their high side, right? But I think if you're just looking for an on-base guy with some doubles, with a little bit of a base running ability, even though he's kind of slow, he's a good base runner. I think it's a usable card. Number 4 in left field, Michael Brantley. Number 3 is Hurley McNair. 73 contact, 71 gap, 80 avoid K. Seeing a guy who can run the bases. He's 2nd defensively in left field, splits versus righties. 5th in weighted on base average, 13th in home runs, 3rd in steals, 3rd in runs created, 2nd defensively in left field. I mean, what's there to complain about? I like this Hurley McNair. Did not see it getting a little bit more play. There could be a little bit of a small sample size thing going on here. But I think as long as there it goes. I see it messing up now. I think as long as it stays versus righties, 92% righties, I think this is a card that can play a little bit in left field. And also has the ability to play right field if you're platooning him in left field as well. So I think this is a pretty interesting card at number 3. I'm seeing it so low on the list. Number 2 is live Jared Kelenic. Interesting. How did he end up number 2? Solid defense here. So again, the top 3, 4, 5 guys, like the 3, 4, 5 guys all kind of run together. So he's probably right there around with the number 3 guy. 67 range, 68 arm, 61 error. Surprises me. Pretty low avoid Ks. He's 12th out of 13 in strikeouts, but 4th in walks. Average and on-base percentage is a little bit low, but you're seeing a little with the ability to run. But I wish this on-base percentage was a little bit higher. I'm surprised to see this card this high on the list. And so he's 4th in weighted average, though, which is pulling him up, and 4th in steals. So the combination of being pretty high and weighted on base average and steals and runs created and having a little bit of power, is helping Jared Kelenic offensively. Interesting looking card. Does his righties? With that avoid K, he won't stay there. It's 1,890 plate appearances for him total. In other positions as well. Interesting. You can why not so splitty, decent defense. Like, I don't hate the looks of this card. Go home, spreadsheet your truck. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I love this card, but I don't hate it either. Like, I think it's playable in the right lineup. Gives you a lot of stuff. Gives you, solid, not great on it, but he's giving you some gap power. He's giving you a look. I mean, I'm just gonna do this just to make everybody angry. I'm gonna give him a try. Well, it's probably gonna change next week. Number 1 is David DeJesus. What? God, I hate these. I'm going home. But grading out number 1 offensively. What are you doing to me today? I understand. I don't get it. DeJesus splits versus lefties just a little bit. Huge avoid K split. 16 points of avoid K. Now his eye and his power split towards righties. I can't. I give up. 900 plate appearance sample size. Zeus. Somehow 16 home runs per 600. 432 slugging percentage. Stated on base average. He is you've got the reverse split. Not really a reverse split. It's a little bit of a reverse. Well, no, he is a reverse split. You're absolutely right. Whoa. Give up on me too. Does have a reverse split contact. Good avoid Ks versus lefties. Interesting. I don't know. What? Where is his slugging coming from? He's hitting 16 home runs per 600 plate appearances. Like, this is the number that doesn't make sense to me. Like, when I look at this and I see that, I'm like, yeah, okay, you got a good batting average with solid home runs, but with 43 power and 54. I just don't see 16 home runs per 600 plate appearances holding up long term for this card. I don't. Number 1 in RBIs, number 1 in WAR. He's grading out number 1 offensively and defensively. It just doesn't make sense to me. You wish you had a friendly rivalry like me, like I have with my data. It's not friendly when it puts David DeJesus at number 1. Does anybody agree with this? Is there anybody out there that says this makes sense? You would play him over Kelenic? Interesting. Next week, the order will be decided by throwing all the cards up in the air and listing. Yeah, I might do that. I'm at the whims of the stats. And he's number 2 in runs created, too. Which, to be fair, yeah, you know what? Let's just move on. Let's move on. If there are left fielders that you didn't see, Gilkey, Hack Miller, and Jordan Alvarez were number 11, 12, and 13. So, I mean, it is what it is. 15 qualifying center fielders. Mitch Webster is at number 10. Everyone knows the best cards are heavier. That's fair. Heavy Johnson is the new meta. Confirm. Wrong format. You can definitely feel power is weighted more heavily. Yes, for sure. Power is definitely overrated just a little bit in these ratings. You would play his card if it was a 59. Yeah, that's fair. He's top 5 for you. Did not see a lot of power at left field. Mitch Webster comes in at number 10. Splits versus lefties, unfortunately. Good base running. Very, very good base runner. But still only 25 steals per 600 with a 64% stolen base percentage. So you can see the effects of having that steal slightly below his speed. 13th offensively, 5th defensively in center field for Mitch Webster. He's at number 10. Number 9 is Freddie Leach at number 9. Splits a little bit towards righties in almost every category. Gap is exactly the same. Not gonna ever walk. 15th out of 15 in walks at 27, which leads to a 285 on base percentage, which is not great. But he is still 5th in slugging. Number 1 among center fielders in home runs. Number 9 defensively for Freddie Leach. He comes in at number 9. Number 8 is Ken Berry, who's grading out number 2 defensively. If you can have a teenage baseball player in your lineup instead of Ken Berry, do it offensively. Just let like my oldest kid who's never played baseball in his life bat for Ken Berry and let Ken Berry play defense for you out there. He's just not good offensively, but he's pretty good defensively. Number 2 among center fielders, and it's very rangy, very center field rating. Barry comes in at number 8. Offensively, he's atrocious, guys. No home runs, doesn't run the bases, doesn't have a good weighted on base average, 14th out of 15 in runs created. He is bad, but still ends up second in WAR. I like this card defensively. I do. But he has warts. Number 1 is going to be Harry Bay somehow. I would not be surprised. These lists today are terrible, and everybody should just go away. Starling Marte comes in at number 7. Again, a guy who splits in contact and avoid K versus righties, but second in weighted on base average, grading out 3rd offensively, 14th defensively, and the fact that he doesn't play anywhere else is not great. Only 921 plate appearances for Starling Marte is a pretty solid offensive bat, but isn't going to be very good defensively at a position that defense is very, very important, and isn't heads and shoulders above everybody else offensively at the position either. He comes in at number 7. Don't replace him yet. Don't replace Barry yet. Number 1 defensively is Christian Pache. He's so good defensively that even being 15th offensively and even being worse than Ken Berry, the defensive ratings drag him up to number 6. I would probably not play Pache over Barry, but he does have utility, plays a little bit of left field, a little bit of right field as well, but everything is really bad offensively for Christian Pache. This is not a good offensive card. Number 5 is Hugh Duffy. Comes in at number 5. Again, 13th defensively, 71 range, 51 center field rating, 66 error rating, 41 arm. Plays a little bit of left field, so a little bit of utility there. Only 666 plate appearances for Hugh Duffy. 92 avoid Ks is good. You're going to see a pretty solid batting average, decent on-base percentage, good slugging from him as well. Maybe a utility guy. I can see worse players playing left field, but I don't know. I think I'd probably stay away from this card, much like everybody else. He's so boring. Who's that? Pache is boring? Pache is the 2020s Barry. That's fair. And then Hugh Duffy at number 5. Number 4 is live Lorenzo Cain, grading out 4th defensively, but gives you a little bit of offense that some of the other cards don't. Does play center field and right field. So here's what I'll throw out there about this Lorenzo Cain card. He splits versus lefties, but has solid defense in center field, solid defense in right field. Yeah, it's a 49 arm. That's a little bit disappointing. I wish it was over here instead. I wish it was a left fielder, but a 300 weighted on base average. Hits some home runs, runs the bases a little bit, 7th and 8th there. Still 9th offensively, but it gives you a little bit of offense in center field. Not much, really, if we're being totally honest. But some utility. Maybe if you can platoon him in center field and let him be a utility center fielder / right fielder. I don't know. Grading out 4th defensively in center field. He's at number 4. Pache is boring. That's fair. Duran comes in at number 3. I want to love this card. This is the future legend, Jaren Duran. 78 range, 64 center field rating. He's grading out 7th defensively. So top half defensively at center field. Not great defensively like the Pache or like the Ken Berry, but usable defensively in center field. Offensively, he's putting up a 260 average, 329 on base percentage, hits for a little bit of power, steals the bases, 33 steals per 600, 5th in weighted on base average, 9th in home runs, 4th in steals, and 6th in runs created while playing pretty good defense in center field, and getting a little bit of a bonus on the WAR, 6th in WAR. He comes in at number 3. You didn't need to say anything else about Kane. Fair. I need him to start hitting for the Red Sox, but he's still young and mashed in AAA. Hopefully, after some adjustments, he'll be a really solid player for the Red Sox. But right now, mediocre. I like it, though. I love this card. I think it's a really cool card that can allow you to do a lot of cool things with your team. And while these look ugly because they're yellow, they're not a super low yellow either. So 59, 59, 55 is not terrible. But in playing defense and center field with solid gap power and running, it's a decent card. It's a pretty solid card. Number 2 is Jelly. I don't know who's going to be number 1. I swear to God, if it's Ketel Marte, you might get some more lag. Jelly Gardner comes in at number 2. 10th offensively, 3rd defensively for Jelly Gardner. 2nd in on-base percentage and 3rd in steals. That's a really good combination to go along with really solid defense in center field. Splits versus righties. So if you're trying to platoon, then find a platoon partner for him. There's a couple here in center field. Jelly Gardner comes in at number 2. 9th in weighted on-base average, 3rd in steals, 2nd in on-base percentage. Doesn't hit any home runs, so he's getting hurt by that. If he hit even like 4 home runs, he's probably number 1 in this list. But grading out 10th offensively and 3rd defensively. This is a really solid card that I like a lot. He comes in at number 2. I haven't been able to find one on the auction house since I've come back to silver. Number 1 is, please don't be like something really dumb. Is the always platooned Jay Payton. I quit. Number 1 in weighted on base average at 335. Number 4 in home runs. If you can somehow find a way to platoon him, Jay Payton is going to be a solid bat for you. I like him better as a left fielder. I'm not going to lie. He doesn't have 600 plate appearances to qualify in left field. Otherwise, he probably pops up pretty high over there. I would guess top 5 defensively in left field. This hurts when you see this card. But I'll be honest. This is a card to keep an eye on if this ever starts trending more towards left-handed pitching. This is a solid bat off the bench. Okay defensively, not great, but the utility of being a left fielder helps. The fact that he can play left field and center field. That's tough, guys. That's tough. One of the best perfect team tournament statisticians in the game, or one spreadsheet. I think the spreadsheet is winning today. I don't like it today. I don't love it. Start running lefties in silver, you cowards. No! Okay, Jay Payton. Whatever. Moving on. I don't even want to do the rest of this. Kyle Tucker. Live Kyle Tucker comes in at number 10. We had 18 qualifying right fielders. Kyle Tucker came in at number 10. 13th offensively, 7th defensively. There are worse cards in the set than Kyle Tucker. His numbers actually look a little bit better than Duran's versus righties. Still got the 53-53, but he adds a little bit of power here and plays some defense in right field. 7th defensively, 13th offensively, 14th in weighted on base average, but runs and hits for power. I mean, he's a live card. That's what you're going to see out of live cards at this point. This rate, the number 1 starting pitcher is going to be a red draw 2 card. It might. 58 power will put him top 4 in left field, you think? For Peyton? Yeah, perhaps. It's time to redo the formulas. Thanks, Bright Av. Thanks for stopping by to mock me. I appreciate it. You think Jay Payton makes more sense than Marte or Harry Bay? I'm with you, Dish. Kyle Tucker at number 10. Number 9 is Harold Baines. Build a legend. Silver. Solid splits versus righties. Number 2 in weighted on base average. 5th offensively, 17th defensively. Only plays right field. Doesn't really play it well. We'll see where he pops up on the hitter list. We're going to burn through that list after we do these. Number 1 on base percentage. Number 4 batting average. And number 5 home runs among right fielders. Number 8 is Alexis Rios. This is a card that I really, really want to be good. It's mediocre. It's okay. And doesn't play great defense in right field to make up for it. Number 1 in batting average, 7th in weighted on base average. Doesn't hit enough home runs to move up the list. There's a lot of power in right field here. 13 home runs per 600 is only 13th out of 18. Does run the bases pretty well. 75% stolen base percentage and steals at 38 are both top 5 among right fielders, and avoids strikeouts. Just doesn't walk. If this was even like a 40 or something, then I think he'd be better. Also splits a little bit versus lefties as well for Alexis Rios. So keep that in mind. I think it's an interesting card. I wish it played a little bit better than it does. But it's a decent card. I like Alexis Rios. Number 7 is Go Away Live Jared Kelenic. I know. 4th offensively among right fielders for Kelenic. 12th defensively for him among right fielders. This doesn't even make sense. I mean, it does. He's a 334 weighted on base average. Middle of the pack in home runs with the ability to run. Again, live card. A little bit of home runs, a little bit of ability to run, a little bit more defense than Alexis Rios, right? Just a little bit. Even though the right field rating is pretty low, I really don't hate this card. I don't hate it. Number 6 is Jaron Duran. Jeepers. 9th offensively, 5th defensively. Plays pretty good defensively in right field. Doesn't hit any home runs, so he's definitely getting hurt by the home runs. The steals are good. The on-base percentage is pretty good. I like that combination still for Duran. 8th in weighted on-base average, 9th in runs created per 600 for Duran, and 5th defensively. He comes in at number 6. Get me an autographed Jared Kelenic baseball. I wouldn't complain about that. I'm a big fan of Kelenic. I work for the Mariners organization, sort of. So, I'm a pretty big fan of Kelenic. And so I wouldn't complain about that. He'll be an Iron Card next week, perhaps. He's starting to play a little bit better, but we'll see. Mike Yastrzemski comes in at number 5. This is an interesting one. 84 power to go along with 39 avoid Ks. Strikeouts are 18th, 175 strikeouts per 600. He's going to strike out once a game, basically, is what you're seeing. Maybe more than once a game. 12th in average, 10th in on-base percentage, but hits for a little bit of power. Home runs are too overrated. We're going to adjust the formulas for next week, I think. Weighted on-base average at 327 for Mike Yastrzemski isn't awful, and the defense isn't bad either. 59 range, a good arm, 58 errors, 60 right field rating for Mike Yastrzemski. There are worse guys to throw in right field here in Silver. Small sample size alert of just 965 plate appearances. I think the home runs probably stay up versus righties. I think the slugging probably stays, top 6, but there's just not any value in a 245, 310 average on base percentage when he doesn't run at all. So that's kind of, he's kind of okay. He's not Carl for sure. Number 4 is Ducky Holmes. I love this card. 2nd offensively, 9th defensively. 2nd offensively among right fielders, though, is really, really solid. Splits versus righties. I finally got my hands on one. 4th in weighted on base average. Doesn't hit for a ton of power, but it's enough. It's, we're going to see who number 1 in home runs is, I bet, in the top 3, just because home runs are so valuable right now. But number 1 in steals and number 1 in stolen base percentage at the position. 65 steals with an 82 stolen base percentage is ridiculous. With a 329 on base percentage, just a super, super valuable top of the order card against right-handed pitching is Ducky Holmes. And that 57i is not atrocious. He's midpoint among right fielders and walks as well. Number 1 in runs, number 2 in runs created, number 2 in WAR, while playing okay defense in right field. I like Ducky Holmes. He's fantastic. He makes up for the power by stealing all the bases. Agreed. This is a guy who creates offense for your team at the top of your lineup. I like him as a number 2 hitter. I think he's a freaking-tastic number 2 hitter in Silver. He comes in at number 4, and if you're playing him in right field too. So here's the thing: is that these 14 home runs are probably going to be pretty high. He might even be a solid number 4, number 3, number 5 hitter for you as well on your right field or on your Silver lineup. The lineup is the card I'm looking for right now. I really, really... What's up, Nameless Poet? Thanks for dropping by. He comes in at number 4. I like him higher than number 4. Number 3 is Doc Miller. In 1,347 plate appearances, not even one of the top 10. These lists are making me look awful today. Number 1 in slugging, number 1 in OPS, number 1 in weighted on base average. The slugging is all coming from doubles, kind of coming from home runs. 7th. Does run the bases with a 323 on base percentage. Splits towards righties. Defensively, he's 10th. Very rangy. The arm is terrifying. That is a really scary arm in right field. If he had any defense in right field, 329, 323, Ducky is just a better version of Doc Miller in basically every way, I think. Heathcote and Sweeney still out there. Ducky, Rios, platoon, perhaps. I can definitely see it. Number 2 in right field is Cliff Heathcote, number 1 defensively. Splits a little bit versus righties, but everything's on offense for Heathcote. He is very, very good defensively. I would argue that he's probably pretty clearly the number 1 defensive right fielder, and so he gets a lot of play because of that. I still kind of lean Ducky. I just think you need to find offense in your team somewhere, and Heathcote isn't the guy that's going to do that. And I think right field is a position you kind of need power from. I won't knock you if you're going all defense on your team. If you're just purely pitching and defense team, There are ways to win that way. I just think that the offense for Heathcote is just a little bit low for me. Even he's 10th in home runs. Let's see who number one is. Max Flack comes in at number one. Interesting. 5th in weighted on base average. He's your 6th most used card. 2nd in home runs, 21 home runs per 600 plate appearances. 7th in steals, 20 plus steals per 600. The on base percentage is a little bit low. The batting average is kind of okay. The ball's going to be in play. He's not going to walk. He's not going to strike out. So, and with his batting average on balls in play being good, not great, that's why you're seeing a pretty low average and a pretty low on base percentage. Do I think Heathcote read Wuthering Heights? I do not know. That is above my knowledge level. Grades out 2nd defensively too, but again, the 56 arm. So it's a very error and right field rating driven kind of defense for Flack. I don't hate it. I think it's an okay card. Not great. I think there's a couple options here in right field, and a couple guys who split versus righties, a couple guys who can platoon in right field as well. It's a nice righty split with the D. I don't hate this card. I still think I prefer Ducky, but you're getting a little bit more power. So if you're really looking for power out of your lineup, then maybe Flack is a better option than Ducky, just because he's going to give you a little bit more. Where do you go? Ducky at a 65 power versus righties, Flack at a 77. So, let's see, 81, 69, the 97, 69. Similar, pretty similar profile, more power, a little bit better base running for Ducky. I think either one's a pretty solid option. I don't think either one of these is bad. I did not get the joke, you Karen. It probably went above my knowledge level, though. I'll be totally honest. Max Flack at number one. I don't hate it. I don't hate this card. I'm gonna plug him in and see if I can't find one and get him some more plate appearances and try him out. We'll see. All batters, top 20 batters. Ready? Rios at number 20. Alexis Rios, number 20. 20th in weighted on base average. Not a lot of power. Steals some bases. Josh Devore at number 19. Weird. 18th offensively here. That's weird. What is going on? Oh, you know what? There's going to be a catcher on this list somewhere. And I know who it's going to be. And everybody's going to be like, let's start with number 21. So actual number, nope. Let's go. 22 is Reigns. 19 is Josh Devore. 18 is Michael Brantley. I'm going to go refresh my coffee after this. What time is it? We got 12:30. 17 is Ben Taylor. Jay Payton at 16. Todd Helton at 15. Dave Revering at 14. Harold Baines at 13. Buddy Rozar at number 11. But this is getting calculated in there right now, so ignore Buddy Rozar. Number 10 is Max Flack. Number 9 is Judd Wilson. For real. Interesting. Number 8, he didn't even... Interesting. Number 8 is Andrew Vaughn. Number 7 is Harry Lord. DH versus righties. Number 6 is Pete Rose. Number 5 is Eric Thames. Number 4 is Ryan Zimmerman. Number 3 is Ducky Holmes. Number 2 is Doc Miller. And number 1, no freaking way, is Jazz Chisholm at number 1 among all batters. Showing you that home runs, my spreadsheet this week apparently digs the long ball. Give me a 2-minute break. I'm going to refresh my coffee. I'll be back in just a minute. So, Rozar is not a top 20 batter. Where's Eddie Collins? So, like I said, I'm on a little bit of a time crunch today. So, if you have guys that aren't on the list, shoot me a message in Discord, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Jazz at number 1. Going on a little bit of a break, so I'll be back in just a minute. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you on the other side of this break with the pitchers. told you it'd just be a minute. You guys didn't trust me. We're back. Let's see. So what did we get? Let's see. Jazz at number 1. Chasten Ruin says, what? Home runs per 600. 23 home runs per 600. And pretty solid on-base percentage. This is out of 110, guys. So a 330 on-base percentage is 22nd out of 110 qualifying hitters. Slugging at 442. OPS, weighted on base average, all third out of 110 pitchers as well. So Jazz comes in at number 1. He is EVC's DH now. Little Green likes it. Axel likes it. Dishnet left. Now we can all talk about Dishnet since he's gone. You've been running him at shortstop. Vicarious wants to run a silver team. You think you're going to do a best of 5 silver after the next update instead of best of 7. Interesting. Good luck on that. I like best of 7s better, but I like data as well. So that might be why. Starting pitchers, we had 36 qualifiers. When we get through these 15, I will run really, really quickly through the other ones that don't make the top 15, kind of like I do every week. But let's do it. Dane Dunning at number 15, splits versus righties. Our batters are 46% right-handed, 34% left-handed, 18% switch at this point, which seems right. Again, starting pitchers, 92% right-handed. Let's see if we can't find some anti-meta left-handed pitching on this list. Dane Dunning at number 15, 406 FIP, 413 earned run average. Again, it's double FIP, earned run average divided by 3, averaged out. You think you're going to do best 5 strikeouts, walks, home runs, make this seem like a 3-2 outcomes kind of guy. Yeah, kind of. Pitching is where your silver team needs help. Let's see if we can find you some help. Dane Dunning at 15. 406 FIP, 413 earned run average. Pretty heavy splits versus righties here. 5.8 innings pitched per game for Dane Dunning. 14. Charlie Gassaway, who splits versus lefties. Here is a left-handed pitcher. Only 1,200 innings pitched for him. 419 FIP, 386 earned run average. Top 7 out of 36 in home runs. Kind of the top half in strikeouts. Doesn't walk any. Walks a lot of guys. Almost got that sentence out of my mouth flawlessly. 35th out of 36 in walks. But the fact that he doesn't let up home runs is keeping that FIP down just a little bit. But the ERA at 6, that's a huge gap between his ERA and his FIP. You're going to want a solid defense behind him. Because if you don't have a solid defense behind him, those walks are going to turn into runs, and nobody wants that. He is 8th, top 10 in quality start percentage, and out of the bullpen, he's 8th in inherited runner percentage. He comes in at number 14. Number 13 is Saul Rajavan, a guy who's been kind of a mainstay on the list. He's the 4th most used starting pitcher in the format right now. 16th in FIP, 15th in earned run average, 13th in whip. Almost top 10 in home runs. Pretty good walk suppression. Doesn't strike too many guys out. Another guy that you're going to want solid defense behind. And 43%. Ground ball percentage is pretty low for him. It's going to be lots of fly balls. He is an extreme fly ball pitcher. 55% quality start percentage is top 10. Number 12 is Kinta Maida. Live Kinta Maida comes in at number 12. 18th in FIP, 11th in earned run average for him. 26th in home run suppression. Lets up a lot of home runs. 11th in strikeouts, 14th in walks, so top 15 in all of those. He is 30th in ground ball percentage, another fly ball pitcher. 12th in quality start percentage, however, and solid inherited runner percentage. 5.25 innings pitched per game for Kinta Maida. Let's see. What are we doing? Dane Dunning. There's avoid silver right now. Environment is stale, and everybody has the same good cards. Fair. Weakest part of my tournament team is the GM. Yeah, mine too. You're not fully committed to silver, but you've been trying to do a roster running between bronzes. What am I looking and thinking to myself? Yes, that's fresh and open. Also a good question. Number 11 is Don Robinson. High strikeouts, high movement, lowish control, but still 20th in walks. Top 10 in earned run average, 14th in FIP, and top 10 in whip for Don Robinson. Right-handed pitcher, 46% ground ball percentage. Number 1 in quality start percentage at 60.07. Don Robinson comes in at number 11. Number 10 is 2021 Player of the Month, Jameson Taillon. God, I hate the Yankees. 8th in FIP, 21st in earned run average. So really, let's just go with he stinks. 17th in whip, 11th in home runs, 19th in strikeouts per 9, and 17th in walks. So the peripherals don't look awesome, but, you know, they're right here in the 10 to 15 range. Top 10 in ground ball percentage, 16th in quality start percentage for Taillon. He comes in at number 10. Number 9 is Earl Francis, who's going to be top 5 in home run suppression, but 17th in quality start percentage. A lower stamina, but a very, very good movement. He's the kind of guy that I struggle trying to figure out how to use. I have used him, and I've been kind of in this range. I just can't make him better. 395 FIP, 404 earned run average for Earl Francis. He comes in at number 9, 25th in whip for him at number 9. Jameson Taillon is amazing. Nope. Not agreeing to that. You think people playing Taillon sliders wrong and getting way better production from him than that. I can see that. This is a good looking card. All snark aside, it's a pretty good looking card. There's a few guys in this format, unlike gold right now and unlike bronze and iron, there's a few guys in this format who are going to really take advantage of this. I don't think there's too many guys up in gold who will do that. But we're talking silver today, so it doesn't matter. And there are definitely a few guys that can take advantage of a 39 hold runners from a starting pitcher, especially. 73, 77, 64 is pretty solid. 65, 67, 60 versus lefties is not as solid, but it'll get the job done. And when you're like 53% lefty against him, I guess with if you calculate switch hitters as hitting lefty against him, and 5 solid pitchers with a ground ball pitching, I think it's a decent card. Earl Francis, the idea of low stuff and low control at the same time. I think that's fair too. You don't remember the last time you were over trying to keep up with chat. You guys get noisy sometimes and I fall behind. Hate the idea of low stuff and control. That's fair. I think that is a valid concern. Bronze has a pretty large variety of players, at least compared to silver, gold. The lower you go, the more you feel like player selection doesn't matter. It's pure RNG. I think that's a valid point too. Perfect is very expensive. Yes. That's disappointing because bronze has been pretty disappointing. So gold is my favorite right now, if I'm going to be totally honest, if we're going to get into that conversation. I really like gold right now. There's a lot of options at most of the different positions. I do feel like we're going through these lists, you're probably down to like a top 5 at each position. In some positions, it's pretty clear cut number 1 or number 2 or number 3, and so that's kind of. Bronze had a few metas, otherwise it's a coin toss. Yeah, bronze is weird. Still like it. And I think if you set your stuff up right, I think you can be successful in bronze too. The nice thing with bronze is that, you can get into minutes in bronze, which is nice. Simmons, Gross, Page, everything else rotates around. Yeah, I think you can play with your bronze team and make it better for sure. It feels kind of like a crapshoot because there's just so much kicking at any given time that. But I really haven't, again, I just got the team stuff going. And so I really think that when you start looking at good teams, and I think sliders are important down there too. So just keep that in mind. Dustin May with the highest stuff, high control. Guys, he will let up home runs, but he's not going to walk too many guys, and he's going to strike some guys out. 401 FIP, 391 earned run average for Dustin May. He and number 8. Low dive 1-2. Cap turnings are becoming your caps are fun. I want to get more into caps. Chen Ming Wong snapshot at number 7. Interesting. Kind of in the Earl France mold, except a little bit higher movement. Right. Again, a little bit higher movement. Good stamina. Very, very similar cards here. Better stamina for Wong, lower hold runners for Wong. 377, 407 earned run average. He is number 1 in home run suppression, coming in at 7. Yeah, Lachman's the new one that's part of the meta now too for bronze. Number 6, Bob Keegan, another movement guy, coming in with a 380 FIP, a 388 earned run average. Neither of these two guys are in your top 10 used. So 908 innings for Wong, only 300 innings for Bob Keegan, but kind of running into that Francis mold, just higher stamina, a little bit lower hold runners for the two of them. Keegan is number 2 in home run suppression, 7th in earned run average. So some names to kind of maybe keep an eye on here. He is 26th in whip, but 3rd in quality. Interesting. I almost wish he was a fly ball pitcher with that movement. So between some interesting looking guys. Wong a ground ball guy. 0.21 home runs per 9 innings for a guy whose innings pitched is pretty solid. For those two guys. Number 5 is Satchel Paige. Good guys. 9,114 innings pitched. Only 4.99 innings pitched per game. So sub 5 in innings pitched per game. We know everything about Satchel Paige there is to know. He's 9th and 5th, 4th average, comes out 5th overall. Cole Henry comes in at number 4, starting to just a little bit, but still 6th and 5th in earned run average for Henry. Does let up some home runs. He's that high stuff, low move control kind of guy, but because he's 3rd in walks and 2nd in whip, the home runs judge. 7th in strikeouts, top 10 in quality start percentage for Cole Henry, even though he's only got a 57 stamina and 6+ innings pitched per game for him. Really continues to be a pretty solid option here in Silver. Satchel Paige is pretty solid. Number 3, Zach Gallen, very high stuff. Number 1 in strikeouts. Number 22 in walks and 21st in home runs. So keep those in mind. But still 4th in FIP, 2nd in ERA. This is live Zach Gallen. Small sample size, 292 innings for him. So mind, somebody has probably got some pretty solid Zach Gallen. Looks like an all defense team because the underlying numbers don't look great to me, but still 3rd in whip. Too much about that. Not letting too many guys get hits. Paige was the hiring mechanic is busted. Small, definite on Zach Gallen, but it appears in that small sample size with a 90% start percentage, almost 6 innings pitched per game. 376 FIP is 4th, 354 ERA is 2nd. Number 2 is a new card. This card is not cheap. Frank Mazzucato comes in number 2. Number 1 in FIP, number 3 in earned run average. I bought this card this week. Has not disappointed me. Pretty good movement out of a guy who's a high stuff guy. I saw this card pop up when I was running data over the weekend, and I paid a lot of money for it. There was one on the auction house. I said, you know what? I need information on this guy. I am not disappointed. Number 1 in whip, number 1 in walk suppression, number 12 in strikeout. Can probably get a little bit more out of that. Top 15 in home runs as well out of 36. A guy who's top 3rd in home run suppression, top 3rd in strikeouts, and number 1 in walk suppression. 4th in quality start percentage right now. Just a serious, fantastic card. Look, guys, there is a left-handed pitcher to throw in Silver now. Go pay 40,000 perfect points for him. No, don't do that. Wait for the price to come down. It's a future legend card, so it may be a little bit. I don't know that it is what it is, but Mazzucato is really, really solid. Lower stamina, but still 6.3 innings pitched per game. 12 more points of movement. He's nuts. This card is. You're absolutely right. Cole Henry. Let's see. Actually, he's exactly the same stuff almost, exactly the same control almost, and lower stamina. Nope. Higher stamina. Only 3 pitches is kind of where that's. If he had a 4th pitch, his stuff would be really good. But I mean. The card is awesome. I guarantee you that was. I paid a lot. I really wanted. Barry Lachman comes in at number 1. 209 innings pitched, small sample size alert. Barry Lachman is a bronze monster, right? And here in Silver, number 2 in FIP, number 1 in ERA, over 200. So keep that in mind. It's a small sample size. It's probably one team. It's probably one pretty well put together team. Top 10 in whip, 17th in strikeouts, 21st in walks, 5th in home run with that really, really good 74-79 movement. I'm going to be honest, this looks way better to me than Wong, or I like Lachman better than I like the Wong or the Keegan cards. I really do. I think Mazzucato is the number 1. I think Lachman can work on the right team. Keep in mind, it's going to be really hard to get Satchel and Lachman in there. It's your fault. You're the one running Lachman. Solid card. I'd have a really hard time fitting both of them in there. That's pretty low stamina between and your Satchel Paige. Can probably get away with one of them. you want to try to get away with. They're both really solid cards. I like Paige just for the screwball, the reverse split going on there. Lachman has the slider, curveball, fastball, but they're both usable in the format. You got, I mean, you've been waiting on it. How much? I don't know how much of those Lachman numbers are you. I could look into that, but I don't have time today. Rich at 16, Cannonball Jackman 17, at 18, Zach Thompson at number 19, Player of the Month, Zach Thompson 19, Todd Stottlemyre 20, Post 21, Rosado 22, Nip Winters 23, Mike Mussina 24, Guy Bush 25, Henry McHenry 26, Juan Marichal 27, Barney Wolf, Ben Cantwell 29, Charles Nagy 30, Urias 31, that is live. Julio Urias, Tyler Mail 32, Joris drops all the way to 33. It was a short-lived reign in the top 10 for John. No longer up there. 34 is Tex Houston, 35 is Double Duty Radcliffe, and 36 is Snapshot from 1974, Jackie Brown. Those are your starting pitchers. Relief pitchers. Oh no. Oh, what is going on here? Whatever. You guys can stay there. Relief pitchers. Number 15, we had 34 qualifiers. Dave Brown comes in at number 15. You can 100% get away with both, is what Mike says. Fair. I think he was further down, wasn't he? We saw him. I thought we saw him. Yeah, double duty way down here. Not looking great for Double Duty Radcliffe right now. 477 FIP, 504 earned run average, and 700 innings pitched. Dave Brown at number 15, 386 FIP, 313 earned run average. He's 6th in earned run average. The underlying numbers don't look great, but he's 6th in whip. Coming in at number 15. What time? 49. Tom Williamson. Welcome back, Tom Williamson. He was he in Silver and Perfect Team 21? I can't remember. Only 411 innings pitched for him right now, but solid splits versus righties. 89 stuff, 81 movement. 81 and 76 versus lefties with a 49 control. Top 5 in home run suppression for Williamson among relief pitchers. 14th in FIP, 15th in earned run average at 367 and 348. Appears to be a usable, if not a top 10 card. Number 13 is Jeremy Ficach. 2 seasons now he's been up here, just falling outside of the top 10 in most used. 356 FIP. 349 earned run average. Jeremy Ficach continues to be a pretty solid top 15 relief pitcher in the Silver format. He was lights out last year, not quite getting to that level this year for Jeremy Ficach. You can recommend having someone like Brooks Raley open for Paige or Lachman. That's fair too. I think that they can definitely be very usable with an opener. I think Lachman more so than Paige as a follower, just because Paige gets that the kind of reverse split going on there. Number 12 is Kevin Rogers, one hit wonder. Kevin Rogers, the song that, the Gambler song. No, wrong. Sport activity. Kevin Rogers comes in at number 12. Splits versus lefties, 87. Stuff versus 83 versus righties, 81. Movement, 76 versus righties, and 2 points of control versus lefties as well. He's top 10 in FIP at 354. Number 17 in earned run average, 7th in home run suppression for Kevin Rogers. Everything else is mediocre-ish. 18th in strikeouts, 24th in walks, and 19th in whip. The new chair has arms that move, and I'm not used to them just yet. I need to find a lock for them. So if you see me fall forward, it's because the arm probably moved. 11 is Paul Kilgus. Pretty weird splits for Kilgus. He's got 3 points of stuff versus righties, but he's got 4 points of movement and 3 points of control versus lefties. So here's one of your lefty relief pitchers that you can run out there. 13th in FIP, 12th in earned run average. Everything else, top 10 in whip. Inherited runners, he's at 23rd. So Kilgus comes in at number 11. For which card looks great? Talk to me. Chaston, which one are you talking about that looks great? Number 10 is Joe Nathan. Gross. I have had no luck with this card at any level. Somehow he's 12th in FIP and 9th in ERA for you guys. I just can't get this card to work for me in any way, shape, or form. He's at number 10, though. Top 10 in strikeouts, 30th in walks, 15th in home runs. Joe Nathan comes in at number 10. Number 9 is David Hale. Put a good defense behind this guy. He's 6th in FIP, 14th in earned run average, 2nd in home run suppression at .24 home runs per 9 innings pitched, 3.37 strikeouts, and 2nd in walks as well. So 2nd in home runs and 2nd in walks. So that helps out his 34th in strikeouts per 9. Did I lose you guys? Are we gone? Are we totally separated now? It looks like everything's still working. Top 10 in ground ball percentage for David Hale. Number 8 is Mel Rojas. We saw him at the top. Heavy splits versus righties, almost to the point of being a right-handed specialist. Where's Lachman in bronze? I think he's probably number 1 or number 2. You think he was talking about Fakach? Possibly. Although that the Williamson card didn't look terrible either. Fakach was awesome last year. He's been up and down a little bit this year. Not quite as consistent this year as he was last year. Rojas is almost a right-handed specialist. Yeah, I think Lachman's a 1 or 2 in bronze as well. We're going to look at bronze again soon. It's been, 4 weeks now? 3.27 ERA, 3.52 FIP for Rojas. He comes in at number 8. Number 7 is Bill Daly. Number 1, less than .2 home runs per 9 innings for Bill Daly. That is really, really, really solid for him. But he's another one of those kind of right-handed specialist guys. Control's a little bit lacking, 23rd in walks, but 8th in ERA, 8th in FIP, puts him 7th overall, 18th in WHIP for Bill Daly. He comes in at number 7. Number 6 is Eddie Guardado. Oh, ignore this. This chart is not correct. I did not update it for most used, so there. Guardado comes in at number 6. 1,050 innings pitched for him. A left-handed specialist is Guardado. 14 points of stuff, 10 points of movement, 2 points of control versus lefties. So he is one of those guys in your bullpen that is a left-handed pitcher. 1,000 innings pitched for him. 11th in FIP, but 4th in earned run average for Guardado. So kind of is what it is. 8th in WHIP, 16th in home runs, 17th in strikeouts, and 22nd in walks. Guardado is at number 6. Number 5 is Nate Jones. We get back to a high stuff, lowish movement, high control. 8 stamina for Snapshot Nate Jones. This is a good-looking card. 2nd in FIP, 7th in ERA for Nate Jones. Kind of that starting pitcher profile, a little bit of a split versus lefties, just a little bit, but in stuff. But then the movement and control split versus righties. So, not really a split either way. He's almost top 5 in walks. Home runs are a little bit of an issue. You see a lot more movement out of these relief pitchers. So a .65 home runs per 9 puts him at 20th, which is, middle of the pack. 16th in strikeouts as well. I don't honestly hate the looks of this card, though. A 3.16 ERA, 3.38 FIP for Nate Jones. Number 4 is Scott Ellerton. Go away, you, not you. 26 points percentage, not you. That was really poor timing. My wife walked in right as I was trying to pretend that I wasn't. Ellerton comes in at number 4. Slight split versus righties. Number 6 in strikeouts, 4th in FIP, 5th in earned run average, 5th in WHIP as well. Almost top 10 in home run per 9 innings and 20th in walks per 9 for Scott Ellerton. He is at number 4. You like Nate Jones in perfect draft? I think that's a decent looking card. Number 3 is Wayne Twitchell. I don't think I have to talk about him. 5th in FIP, but number 1 in earned run average. For Twitchell, top 5 in home run suppression, 15th in strikeouts, and 26th in walks. No surprise to see Wayne Twitchell in the top 5. Some people might be surprised to see him as low as number 3, but number 2 is John King, who splits versus lefties. Small sample size alert here on King. 248 innings. 3rd in FIP, 3rd in earned run average, number 1 in WHIP from a live 73 rated silver card. Left-handed specialist, which is kind of nice. You need a couple of those. Good looking left-handed card here. Not terrible looking with the 65 stuff, 80 movement, 70 control are all pretty solid numbers against lefties. And a 57, 66, 64 versus righties is concerning, but not the worst I've ever seen. I am not surprised to see the bronze silver so high up in here. The three that we've seen so far, the Twitchell, the Satchel Paige, and the Lachman, are very, 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 very good bronze cards. So I'm not surprised to see them this high. King also third in inherited runner percentage. I do think I still like the Guardado better, but this isn't a bad looking live card here in silver. And number one, it's Jabba. Is anybody surprised about this? Number one in FIP, number two in earned run average, second in strikeouts, top 10 in home run suppression. Still walks some guys, but is number 7 in whip. This is probably the one must-have relief pitcher card here in silver. Does get blown up every now and then. I will say that if Jabba has a bad game, it can be really bad. It can get ugly pretty quickly, but he's very, very consistent. He's been really good, really, for the entire format. He continues to be number one here in silver. Ollie Perez at 16, left-handed specialist, probably a pretty good left-handed specialist with a 107 stuff, 79 movement, 80 control. 17 is Paul Fry. 18 is Scott Kazmir. 19 is Don Gross. 20 is Sergio Romo. Surprised to see his control as low as it is. Huge movement numbers versus right-handers. 21 is Pablo Lopez. I just traded for him in the OHBL. He almost helped us get to the playoffs in 2025. He will hopefully help us get to the playoffs in 2026 for the OHBL Cubs. We're almost there, guys. We're there. We're a competitive team now. Jabba's been great as your gold stopper. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Set Jabba to quick hook, maybe. Yeah, perhaps. People are starting King as a follower. Fair. You don't know that you'd play. Okay, let's see. We already talked about that one. That's your experience with Jabba. He's awesome most of the time, but when he gets when he gets blown up, it gets ugly. Maybe it's a hidden insect modifier that Out of the Park has. Every now and then you get those insects off the river. Somebody may get that reference. He's still completely unfair. I agree. Yeah, the midges. Sergio Mitre at 23. Tom Glavine, Builder Legend 24. Barney Schultz 25. Brooks Raley 26. Tim Hudson 27. Chris Bassett 28. Will Harris 29. Sam Streeter 30. Bobby Jones. Ricky Vitalico. Ron Guidry. And our final one is Manny Salvo 1940 snapshots at number 34 in 218 innings. Those are your silver cards for this week. I'm going to go open some packs with the decimals. We're going to close it up. We're going to talk really, really briefly about my mistakes over the weekend in gold because I panicked. Saturday was the Perfect Team Championship Series finals. My gold team was looking pretty okay. Let's see what we can find here in gold. You look, you see third, fourth, and then Friday night they were like second, third, fourth. And then Saturday morning came along and the team got knocked out in 3 straight tournaments and just got smoked in 3 straight tournaments. And I panicked and I made some changes to the team. And it was a struggle, guys. It was a struggle. Do I post all of this on the Discord as well? No, the list will be on the Discord. I'll post an update for the summaries on Discord later on today since that is fixed. But the spreadsheet doesn't get put on Discord yet. You had Mac Jackson round 1 gold, PTCS 7 games. You lost 2 1-run games. So I got this team that I honestly didn't have any data on. The Ballymahone Bassets. I don't know if they're here today. I had no data on this team for my gold tournament numbers, and so I had no idea what to expect. And what they were was they ended up moving Jared Weaver into their rotation for the second time through. I don't know that we got to. This is weird because he was definitely not 4-1 in the tournament. This is weird. Why am I seeing? Did I lose to them? That's not what happened. That's our second round team. This team, the first round team I faced, was all lefty starters and all righty relievers, and I just was not prepared for it. I made changes to my team, and they were dumb, and I messed my whole team up. The changes that I made was I brought Bobby Bonilla in to face against lefties, and it killed me, and I brought Tim Raines in, which was just a really bad idea. Both of these guys ended up being a really bad idea, and I haven't gone back and fixed it yet. And it was a struggle, guys. We got through the first round, which is nice. All we needed to do is get through the first round to get that perfect pack for a reward. So we have one perfect pack to open today with these packs. But the panic got to me, and then I was like, JT Snow, and I feel awful about what I did to this poor team. And on the pitching side, I ended up panicking and buying a Leon Cadore, who ended up being terrible for us in his 2 appearances. It was just bad. And so I had no idea. So Cadore's looked good in gold. Or Cadore. It's Cadore, not Cadore. He's looked good in gold. I just had no play testing with him. So I hadn't messed around with sliders or anything. And he's one of those guys that I just wasn't sure where I wanted the slider at. And obviously it didn't go particularly well, as he did not pitch real well for us in either of his performances. And so we ended up going with like Zach Duke as a follower, and it was just bad. But we got a perfect pack to open today, along with some other packs, like 37 other packs that the gold team earned us over the weekend. The team that beat us ended up going to do pretty well, I think. They made it to the semifinals, so he ended up getting, I think, the semifinals. There were some really, really solid rewards here. Semifinals were oral, so, and we put up a fight. It wasn't like we got smoked in round 2. I like to think if we had gotten past a pretty good team, he's a pretty good team. He's a team that I had some data on that has a pretty good winning percentage. So in the format, and I really like his team. Tuck Turner, Alec Thomas, JT Snow, Cecil Cooper, Dandridge. I've moved back to Dandridge at third base. I'm trying some things at shortstop right now. It's not working well. We're probably going back to Chico. I really, really want to find a replacement for Chico Carrasco. This is obviously his team. Keiko, Weaver, Young, Duke, Crochet. Crochet has been really good in my bullpen in gold. Betancourt, Joe Nathan, Hudson. He ran a short bullpen, super short bullpen, only 6 players. So solid performances. The team that won in gold was the Honolulu Pacifics. Let's go to the tournament tree. This is a team that I see all over the place. This is a very, very good team, managed by Jericho on Out of the Park. I don't know if that's somebody who hangs out. The special edition Larkin is whatever. I got the perfect pack from finishing in the second round of the finals of the Perfect Team Championship Series. So it was 9 through 16. Each got one perfect pack. So we're gonna open that today. And so I figured I'd save it, and you guys can watch me open like a Corbin Burns or something not very good in our perfect pack. So let's do it, right? We got 37 packs, 36 packs in a perfect pack for the Decimals. The Decimals made it to the playoffs. I want to go to the main team so you can see what we're looking at. I finished a couple more collections. I made some purchases this week to try to help this team out. I did finish some collections. The pitching staff is looking okay. Yeah, Woodruff is probably the one I'm going to get. Woodruff will probably be the one that we get. I did make some changes to the Decimals this week. The pitching staff is looking a little bit better. We kind of filled it out. We got Valverde in there. We got the Mackenzie Gore in there. I decided to give Chapman a try. Again, not looking good for him. He's probably getting cut again. And then I want to say I added somebody else. I think I got the Clemens in there. I don't know. How are we doing this week in gold? We are currently 16 and 18. That's not pretty. That's not good. We made the playoffs last week and got knocked out in the division series, so we'll see if this team can come back. I'm really looking for an upgrade at center field because Garrett Mitchell just isn't getting it done really in any way, shape, or form. Let's see. Do we have career fielding stats? Yeah. Defensively, he's deficient. Offensively, he's also deficient. It's been tough trying to find an upgrade for Garrett Mitchell. Has McDowell been good for me? I think we actually, no, not particularly. In gold, he's been okay. In diamond, he's been getting hit pretty hard. It's the team's just not there. There are a lot of teams out there who are a lot better than this. And so, there's collections that I want to complete that I just can't right now because I don't have the funds to do it. And so we're just kind of stuck in a pattern of getting to gold, winning gold every now and then to get up to diamond just to get relegated back to gold. It's a little bit tough. There's no way to get consistency out of McDowell. Yeah, he's tough. He got hit pretty hard for you in the lower levels. He's not great. Yeah, Chapman, I think I run as a specialist. I don't. I probably need to. I kind of threw this team back together. We'll run Chapman as a specialist versus lefties and see how that goes. But it's just kind of a mess right now. It's been tough. So let's open packs because I got to get going. Go for Oscar over Garrett Mitchell. The mission isn't too expensive. We'll see how we'll look into it. I'll look into it. First pack has a Pablo Sandoval, so we're off to a good start. Nobody hates Pablo Sandoval except for Red Sox fans like me. To 1 in pitch count, 3 batters faced. Okay, we'll think about it. I haven't done a lot with this team with strategy either, because like honestly, my focus is tournament stuff too. So, as much as I'd love to get to Perfect League someday, it's probably not in the cards. I'm not that good of a player. You have to be a really good player. I just really like getting data out to you guys. I'm not that great at team building. Maybe we'll watch a video of the stream. For sure. You pulled Tatis in your perfect pack, Stens? Sorry. 29 packs left. Oh, gosh. Remember like the first 5 packs we opened today that were really awesome? There's a McCutcheon Build-A-Legend at least. Silver, Marcell Ozuna. Ugh. He might never play again. Adam Kolarek, Taylor Trammell. We got Edwin Diaz. Garrett Richards in the Red Sox bullpen now. Silver, Robbie Ray. Oof. These packs. Ouch. Joe Page. Solid. Usable. I wouldn't say solid. Usable bronze relief pitcher. Tom Paholski gets a little bit of use in bronze. Mitch Haniger might not be bronze for much longer. He had himself a pretty solid month of August. Altavilla, Arcia. These packs are making me sad. 20 packs left. Another Garrett Richards. Julio Urias. We saw him today getting some use in silver. Up and down. Rowdy Tellez is our bronze in this pack. 18 packs left. Austin Allen. There's a Jazz Chisholm live card. Kiata. Diamond. Matt Olson. Oh well, it's 4 more packs. Or 4,000 points I can use to buy cards. Another diamond, Nick Anderson. Back-to-back diamonds. Back-to-back live diamonds. We got 14 packs left before the perfect pack. Luck seems to be heating up a little bit, though, so who knows? That's a Clark Schmidt 61 rated bronze card. Kyle Isbell. I'm playing okay for Kansas City. Might have gotten demoted. I think I have him in my minor leagues on my fantasy team. I know I have JB Bukowskis as a prospect in my fantasy league. I'm hoping to be good in like 3 years for this fantasy team. There's a Kendrys Morales. That's a new card. Doesn't complete any missions, but gets us a little bit closer to the Los Angeles Angels team mission. 4,000 perfect points of value there. Also a Louis Patino in that pack. Let's see. Eric Owens, Jeff Hoffman. Patino got traded for Glasnow, right? Yuli Gurriel. Bronze Masher. Austin Pruitt. 8 more packs, guys. Get your fingers crossed. There's another diamond. It's Bryce Harper. Goodness gracious. I can't cover up my Steam overlay for you guys. One of my friends is playing Out of the Park. John Bale. Brad Rock. 6 packs left till the perfect pack. Jay Bruce. Joe Gragenda. Zenda? I'm not even going to change my mind. I'm going to delete the last 10 seconds of this video and not attempt that name. 6. Luke Williams, Mike Brasso, Anthony K. Lamont Wade Jr., who had a walk-off, but a 2-run pinch hit home run the other day. There's another Edwin Diaz for the Giants and a huge win against Oakland. Toby Atwell, Kyle Hendricks. We'll take a silver Jabba. Still going for 2,700. Take it. Rosenda. Pack was bad. Channel all of our luck into one last pack. I'm going to guess. Let's see. The first one I said was Corbin Burns, and I already have a Corbin Burns, so we're just going to be Corbin Burns. It is even worse. JT Real Muto. Well, bias selections. At least we got an Ozzy Albies, 21,000 points, guys. Real Muto goes for 23 on the auction house. Gross. There's Jake Bowers in here. Nate Andrews. Sad. Sad. All of my work messing up my gold team. Fighting just to get into the second round of that tournament for a JT Real Muto. We were 2 wins away from a solid historical card. Let me show you what I'm trying at shortstop right now. It is not working. I haven't placed in a tournament in 2 days now. I'm just trying to get a guy that I saw 200 points or 200 plate appearances of data on. It is not going well. I am currently running Dobie Moore at short. I haven't downloaded the data from yesterday or today. Defensively, I think he's killing my pitching staff. It's really like you got Larkin and you got... I want this card to be good. I want it to be a solid top of the order card. It's just not getting it done. No packs yesterday and today. Those packs were yeah. That was not fun. I'm gonna cry after we go off stream. I'm gonna hold it in until then. I'm gonna hold on. You could trade with me, I think, in the OHBL. Guys, thank you for hanging out with me today. I'm sorry that the packs were terrible. I don't want to wipe the... Thank you. My wife brought me a tissue. Kind of want to just spend the rest of these points on packs and see if we can't get the bad taste out of our mouths. But I don't want to. I need to get this team going. I'm not going to do that. We're going to log off. Week, what do you guys want? You want gold? Do you want gold next week? Is that what you guys want? Is gold? I was thinking about trying to get that gold 1949 stuff, right? And I was torn between, we talked last week about silver versus gold 1949, and then the championship series stuff dropped, and I was like, oh, I really have to figure out this gold team. That's all I did. So I didn't get enough data on the historical one here, but thanks for, yeah, you're welcome. Might as well do gold. Yeah, we may as well. I got a ton of data on gold over the last week or so, so we'll go take a look at gold next week. Will be the plan. And then that'll give me a week after the live updates to get back to iron and bronze. So that's what we'll do. You want gold cap 1750? We'll just do gold. I'll start gold caps. I think the spreadsheet's done. I know I say that like every 3 weeks, but I think running really well. I really like what I have in there, and I think we're done with it. So now I can just focus on tournaments, and we'll look at something. We'll do something fun here in the next couple of weeks, but I think next week it's going to be gold, and then we'll go back through iron and bronze, and then we'll do something fun after that. So thanks for hanging out with me, guys. The update is Monday, yeah. The next Perfect Team Championship Series is gold cap 1750. Oh. The Master Series is open. I want to tell you guys, you see this team here? So Chris announced that the next Perfect Team Master Series is open, and we're in trouble. We're in a lot of trouble. This